What's up, YouTube? I'm back! Today, I wanted to talk about some more video game stuff as to whether or not the Xbox Series is better than the PS5, and whether they were worth it, because now they've both been out for a year. So let's talk about it. Alright, so, in the last year, the PlayStation 5, actually exactly a year ago, I got my PlayStation 5. This is not an original controller, by the way. I went and got one of them black ones. I also have the red one too, because I like controllers. Didn't like the white one as much, and it started to kind of stain in the back, so went with the black one. Also did get an Xbox Series S that I dig very much to play Game Pass. It's obviously an excellent little Game Pass deal, which is killer. So, let's talk about them. Let's talk about the pros and cons of each system, and whether they were worth it, and whether it's worth you checking into one or the other, and which one I recommend. Anyway, after a year certainly with the PS5, and about 5-6 months with the Xbox Series S. So, let's talk about the PS5 first, and let's talk about the launches. So they launched right around the same time, I think within a week of each other. And they both came out banging. I would say that overall, both systems, the actual hardware itself, is good. It's good hardware. The SSD in both are huge upgrades. I mean, the no load times thing is, the hype is real, and even now, if I go back to something with a load screen, I'm just like, oh my god, I remember how much I hate this. And no load time is amazing. It works pretty similar in my... from my experience in both. There's really not a thing about load screens, aren't really a thing anymore, and that to me is mwah! It's perfect. It really is good. Like, that to me is like the biggest upgrade. And if you're somebody like me who just hates load screens and has like this really bad attention deficit, like I just can't pay attention so much through load screens, it's fantastic. No load screens anymore. So you get that right away, both systems, and then everything looks better, runs faster, so you get, for the most part, the games that are unlocked, especially on Xbox, you're getting 60 frames per second. I only have a Series S, so most things are still 1080p at 60 frames, but, to play things in 4K at 30 or 4K 60, I've done a lot of on PS5, and it's just incredible. It's really the frame rate bump that is a huge, like, just increase to, like, amazingness. The frame rate bump is mwah. 60 frames per second is awesome. Let's talk about launch lineup. Now, the Xbox had none, really, unfortunately, for Xbox. Now, they're coming out this year. Got Halo coming. Forza Horizon 5 is out. They had the Medium earlier this year, which is now also on PlayStation. But, they're coming, but the Xbox stuff kind of got delayed. A lot of stuff got upgraded to play on Xbox. I think the last Forza Horizon 4 did get upgraded to play on the Series X and the Series S, and that looked really good. Forza Horizon 5 looks amazing. One of the best looking games of all time ever, and it plays great. So good. And, at this point, it's got some games, but the PlayStation still has more exclusives. So as far as PlayStation exclusives go, you got Miles Morales right off the bat, and an upgraded Spider-Man from the 2018 Spider-Man. That was incredible. That was my first experience. Obviously, that was the game I wanted first. That's why I jumped on the PlayStation bandwagon day one, because I wanted to play Miles Morales, because I loved Spider-Man 2018. Wanted to play the Miles Morales game in 4K, 60 frames per second, as good and as nice, with all the ray tracing and everything that it could do. And I loved it. I actually played through it twice. Almost 100% of the game. I think I'm like 98% or something like that. My son's played through it on PS4. It is a cross-gen title. We'll get to cross-gen stuff and backwards compatibility and all that in general, but got that. Demon's Souls was fun. They upgraded Ghost of Tsushima, and that's got a director's cut now that is pretty good. It looks really good, but it doesn't have any ray tracing. And as far as exclusives are concerned, we got Returnal, which was fun, kind of a fun bullet hell, a little too hard in my opinion, but it was fun. And Ratchet and Clank, which was also a PS5 exclusive. And then we also got Godfall, which I didn't play because it didn't review very well. They upgraded Mortal Kombat for both of them, but Mortal Kombat was a free upgrade to the PS5, which was great. You get 4K, 60 frames per second Mortal Kombat, which is amazing. And Deathloop. We got Deathloop at the end of the year. Unfortunately, a lot of games got delayed. That happened too with Xbox. Halo was supposed to launch with Xbox, but it didn't end up launching until just the very recently the multiplayer launched, and then we won't get the campaign until December 12th or something like that. It's a couple days into December. So, you know, but the Halo multiplayer is really good. As far as exclusives go, PS5 really just got more, like a lot more. Like I think Xbox had like 3, and PlayStation had closer to 10. So it's really, there were a lot more exclusives on PlayStation, and there's about to be a lot more exclusives on PlayStation. That's not to say that there aren't worthwhile exclusives also coming for Microsoft. They did buy Bethesda, and if you're a fan of, you know, Skyrim, and although Deathloop will probably come to I'm certain it will come to Xbox right away. If you're a fan of like Skyrim and Wolfenstein and Doom and Fallout and all that stuff, Starfield is going to probably be an Xbox exclusive now. So, I mean, a lot of that stuff is coming to Xbox, but it's down the pipeline. Now, coming in like February of this year, we're going to get the Horizon Zero Dawn, the sequel, which I couldn't be more excited for. I know it was maybe going to be Christmas this year, and I'm like, oh man, it's a good Christmas game, and then it didn't come. And I'm sad about that, but at the same time, I'll get it next year in February. Next year, we're also supposed to get another Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo 7 is supposed to come out next year, as well as maybe God of War for the holidays. The sequel to God of War, Ragnarok. So that could be cool. So as far as games are concerned, the PlayStation's still a heavy hitter with the exclusives. Third-party AAA games play the same on both. They really do. I've played the same game on both systems a couple of times, you know, different back and forth, just to try and compare. Not a whole lot of difference. They're both really good. Both really good experiences with like third-party AAA games. You really can't go wrong. Let's talk about the controllers a little bit. So it's no secret that I think that the Xbox One controller was better than the DualShock 4. However, the DualSense is by far the biggest upgrade in controllers that we got this generation. Holy crap, is the DualSense great. The rumble in this, it is so good. It is so pinpoint. I mean, raindrops feel amazing. If you buy a PS5, you get Astro, like you get Astro's Playroom, and you're just like, the rumble in this Astro is just so, it's basically just like a DualSense. Here's what it does, and it's amazing. The triggers, I love the triggers. I love how there's tension in the triggers. You can break it, clearly. I mean, there's a lot of mechanisms. There's a lot of tech going on in here. You can certainly break it, but I haven't broken any yet. And I mean, just as a controller, as an upgrade, I think this steps up above, far and beyond what the DualShock 4 was, and it even jumps over the Xbox Series controller, which I like a lot too, actually. The Xbox Series controller is certainly an upgrade from the Xbox One controller, which was my favorite controller of the last generation. It's an upgrade. It's more solid. I like... These are better. They're mouse clicks. These broke a lot. These are much better now. They're individual buttons. They're not like on a rocker where you can snap it. Triggers feel solid. They actually have a little more tension. Same thing with the thumbsticks. It feels like there's just a little more tension in the thumbsticks, which I really like. I felt like going back and forth to them after having both controllers, the thumbsticks are just better. Everything feels better about this. I really like this D-pad. It's all so clicky. Clicky stuff gets me. I like clicky. So it's very clicky. The triggers are nice. I mean, it's a good controller. It's just an upgrade of what they did last time. So they took everything that worked in the last one, they made the stuff that didn't work better, and it's a little more comfortable to hold, in my opinion, but that's going to be personal preference. A little more comfortable to hold than the Xbox One controller was, just the way the ergonomics work, the way my wrists sit. It's a little more comfortable to hold for long periods of time, but it's not as good as the DualSense. DualSense is better. Just is. I mean, that's my opinion, but it's got more tech, and it just feels better. I really like it. DualSense is the way. Now, as far as the hardware itself is concerned, I waited to talk about this towards the end. Like I said, they're both fantastic. They're both really, really good. The Xbox is more powerful It's just the Xbox Series X, the big refrigerator is just more powerful. It's just got more power, and Xbox has been doing that since the One X. The One X was like, it just was the most powerful system. So, you know, we're just gonna brute force everything to play better. And I like that approach. I think it's very good. The PlayStation though, nothing's come out to really push either system too hard. So to say, oh, it looks better on this or better on that or plays better on this, everything plays really well on both. So there's really no benefit to getting an Xbox versus a PlayStation as far as a power standpoint, at this point in time anyway, as far as a power standpoint goes, because they're both plenty powerful enough to play every game that's out there at 60 frames per second and 4K with all the resolutions, and if you got the right TV and the right games, it'll do it. And it'll play it, it'll look amazing, it'll look and play better than anything you've done. Oh, also Kena. Kena was on, not to throw back, but Kena Bridge of Spirits was also a PlayStation exclusive, which was also very, very good. Great little indie game. Really good, actually. Loved Kena. And, you know, but as far as recommendations go, as somebody who has both, my recommendation is to go with a PlayStation. Now, that's not to say that, you're just this PlayStation fanboy. No, I have an Xbox. I do. I love them both. I play them both. I mean, in fact, I'm playing more Xbox now than I am PlayStation, because Halo's out, because Forza's out. But if you don't have a PS5, and maybe you missed some PS4 stuff, the other nice thing about getting a PS5 is once you sign up with a PS5 for PlayStation Plus, or not, or PlayStation Plus, which you need to play online, you get the PlayStation Plus collection, which is like, here's like most of the best PlayStation exclusives, plus a bunch of other stuff. You just have it as long as you have the subscription, and it's like Uncharted 4, it's God of War, it's, you know, Days Gone, Ratchet and Clank. I mean, just so many games. It's 20 games, I think. It's a ton of games. It's just like, here's 20 games. Especially if you were an Xbox guy last generation, it's like, here's the 20 games that you missed. There's maybe a handful of others, but here's like 20 games that you missed. And then with the PlayStation Play at Home program, we also got, you know, while we were stuck at home during COVID, we also got the full Nathan Drake collection just for free. Ratchet and Clank 2016, which is also on the PS Plus collection. And we got Horizon Zero Dawn, the complete edition, just digitally for free, if you had it. Now, I mean, you can't get that now, per se, but just the giving and the wealth of what you could get just with the PlayStation Plus. PlayStation Plus is a great value. It's not quite what Game Pass is, but it's way cheaper. It's like, you can usually get it on sale, like $40 a year, and you get 2 to 3 games every month for free, plus access to tons of stuff, plus online play, plus just, it's good. It's great. It's worth every penny of $40 a year, and, you know, no qualms with that. You get a lot of really great games every month, and it's always really exciting, and I've played through a lot of them. With Xbox, though, you do have Game Pass, which is, you know, it starts at $10 a month if you're just going to play it on console, but if you want EA Play, which is really fun, and which is because you get all the good EA stuff, which is just a huge backlog of EA stuff, and a lot of new stuff too. And you also get it on PC. Plus, you get the mobile. You get to be able to play Game Pass stuff on mobile, which works really well. You know, I would say it's hard. Should you get either? You should get whatever one you can. Whatever's in stock is probably what you should get. But if I had to pick, if you have the option and you've got them both sitting in front of you, and it's like, well, you can have this PS5 or you can have this Xbox Series X. Which one do you want? I would go with the PS5 right now, just because of the exclusives that are already there that you can't play on Xbox, and the exclusives that are coming early next year that you can't play on Xbox. Now, that being said, if Halo is your jam and Forza is your jam, and you love all that stuff and you can't wait to play Halo and Forza in 4K at 60 frames, yeah, go with the Xbox. But you can still play all that stuff on the Xbox One. The load times will be worse, but you can still play all that stuff on the Xbox One. So my recommendation, after having both and having played both pretty extensively now for the last year to 6 months with the Xbox, is, you know, if you have the option to get a PS5 and then get a Series S, if you don't have an Xbox One or something, do that, because the Xbox experience is great, particularly through Game Pass, And I think over the long haul, Game Pass, especially if you do the bundle deal where it's like $24 a month for the Series S and Game Pass, and for 2 years you're just paying $24 a month. You're not actually fronting, like $24 a month is not a lot considering everything you would get with this. And you'd get Game Pass Ultimate, which is $15 a month anyway, and then it's $10 a month for the Xbox, which is super cheap. I mean, there's more value in that, and there's more fun to be had there. It's way cheaper than like cable, and there's more value and fun to be had there than could ever be had on cable. But I do think the PlayStation has a better upside. As far as the SSDs are concerned, Xbox does make you buy a little card if you want to expand it, where PlayStation now you can just plug in a M.2 drive and it just works. It has to be the right speeds, but it's just a new one. You basically just have the Gen 4 ones and it works. Really just like them both though. I would recommend the PS5 over the Xbox Series, but they're really both really good, and it's been a good year. I think the delays kind of hurt everything with the pandemic, but if you get one in and or around the holidays, I think that there's enough backlog now that it's worth it, especially for PS5. And moving forward, tons of great stuff coming down the pipeline. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the Xbox versus the Xbox One or Xbox Series X versus the PS5 after their first years. Both banging systems. You can't go wrong with either of them. But those are my thoughts. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Cheers to you. I'll see you next time.